Behind the Beats with Jess Bowen and Bowie Jane.
G'day, it's Bowie Jane and Jess Bowen for Babes Behind the Beats. G'day, Jess.
G'day, Bowie. How are you? I've missed you. I'm happy to be back again.
She's back in LA. Yay.
I know. Back from that long extended vacation in Arizona because, I mean, why not? It's still been locked down here in LA and my family's in Arizona. So it was like, let's do some quality family time together, you know?
Yeah, and Arizona has the best weather in winter. Like the apps. I mean, LA's good too, actually, but
Arizona
so nice.
is so beautiful this time of year. So yeah, definitely recommend it if anyone has a chance to go.
And today we have on the show is Mandy from Misterwives.
Yes. So we opened for Misterwives is when I was playing drums for Tessa Violet. And this was 2019. I want to say it was in December. We just played like a couple shows together. But I've known of Misterwives and we've also I've known other members of the band and we've kind of shared some touring crew members as well. Like I know our guitar tech was like their guitar tech for a while. And it's just, it's a small industry. So everyone, you kind of know each other somehow,
Yeah, and it's funny because when we were getting her on the show, I'd heard of Misterwives, but I wasn't so familiar with them. And I was like, hang on, I do know their song, Reflections.
Yeah.
And I was like, how do I know this song? And then I remembered it went viral on Vine. But now Vine seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? Because the song went viral on Vine. I think I did a cover of it somewhere. And then I was like, oh my God, I do know Misterwives. They're amazing.
That's so funny that you say that because I loved that song, Reflections, when it came out. And mind you, this is also before I knew anything about them because I think that song came out and I was just like, this band is awesome. And I also did maybe a 15-second drum cover of the chorus of Misterwives because I was just messing around in some drum place and I was like, oh, just film me playing this song just because I like this chorus. I posted it and it has this is so random too. It has millions of views on it on my Instagram. But I'm like, how? Why? Because it's 15 seconds.
We should reshare that on the Babes Behind the Beats.
But the thing is, it's horrible quality, Bowie. I'll show you. You'll be like, how did this get millions of views when it's this quality? Because it was just at a time when it was 2014. So I just set my phone up and obviously when you're playing drums through your phone, it's not going to sound good. But somehow people still were
God,
I love this. I don't know. Somehow I was able to convince people that I was really good. But
yeah, well, you are. And the song was huge. So
song was huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be, she's a cool chick. So I can't wait to chat with her.
She's very, very cool. And it'll be nice to kind of just catch up and see how she's doing, during these times. I think she just moved to LA recently. So we'll chat about that and just see from New York, actually. She was always, I think, based in New York and now is in LA. So maybe we can just see how that's been going and how she's feeling. So excited to get her on.
Yeah, let's chat with her now. Hey, Jess, I just want to thank our amazing Patreon supporters. We have some amazing people who have subscribed to our Patreon account, and it really helps us with producing this show and getting everything up and running. We really appreciate the support, and we just wanted to thank everyone for being a subscriber.
Yes, thank you all so, so much. It really is helpful. We love doing this, but it really helps us kind of be able to get it done. And, if you become a patron, you will get some early access to the podcasts. You'll get video content, some other content like Q&As that we do. We just do some fun stuff to try and give back. Just definitely subscribe. And we're just so thankful. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah. And the web address, if you want to visit our Patreon, is Patreon. That's right. Patreon.com/babes behind the beats. So visit us there and we really appreciate your support and we can't wait to see you over there. All right, it's Bowie Jane and Jess Bowen for Babes Behind the Beats, and today we have Mandy from the Misterwives. Welcome, Mandy.
Thank you. What a warm welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, Mandy, oh my God, I'm so excited that you are doing this podcast and the show with us. I love everything about your band because we played, I think it was a year ago now that I played a show with you guys because I was playing drums for Tessa Violet and we opened 2 shows. I think it was December, literally December of last year.
It was December. It was about a year. Oh, one of the last shows we ever played.
Yeah.
So
Isn't that crazy? Like, who would have thought?
Seriously. And I remember being so excited getting to play with you ladies and being like, holy shit, this is the best lineup. Let's do a whole tour together. And maybe next year or 2 years from now.
I know, right? Maybe, who knows?
Dream come true.
Oh my God. That was so much fun. Like, I was just going to say, watching you perform, you guys have an amazing, incredible live show. And I was in awe every night watching you guys. I think that might have been my first time watching you guys actually live, but I've always been a fan of the music. And I just have to say, like, live is such an incredible energy that you bring to the stage. You have an amazing energy. And I'm just like wondering, who was your influence that gave you like power on stage?
Wow, thank you so much. I'm blushing. I match my pink Christmas tree right now. Well, first of all, same to you guys. I remember being so blown away by your show that when you're supposed to be getting ready and doing warm-ups and all that stuff while the other set is going on. And I didn't do any of that because I was just like drawn to your whole show. And I was like, all right, just one more song. And I was like, oh shit, it's the end of the set and I have not done anything to prepare for this show. So,
man.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell that energy comes from. I would say it's very therapeutic and cathartic. It's one thing writing music and then getting to perform it and like what happens when you perform it and the energy in the room and what you're going through at that moment and the very, very needed release, which I've not had in a very long time, which you can imagine how chaotic my brain and heart feel right now without having that lifeline. I would say that's where it comes from, is really like, that's the heart and soul of it. It's not like, oh, I love this performer, I want to embody that, as much as I've always looked up to such incredible performers since I'm a little girl, anything from like Aretha Franklin to Stevie Nicks to Gwen Stefani to all of these like powerhouse females. I've been very influenced by how badass they are, the music they make, how they perform, all of that stuff. But I think at the core of it, it comes from just like needing to express myself, to stay sane.
Totally. Yeah.
Are you based in LA or?
I just moved to LA, but I'm from New York. Born and raised.
From New York.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
I'm a New Yorker.
So how did the whole music thing start for you then, being in New York? Are you in the city, or like, I'm an Aussie, so you're gonna have to explain it. And we have some Aussie listeners.
Yeah, it's confusing. There's these things called boroughs, and I am from one of the boroughs, which is Queens, and which is like you can get on the subway and you take a train 10 minutes and you're in the city. So like I went to high school in the city, like it's very close to Manhattan. I mean, it really just started since I was a child, but I guess the biggest moment for me was buying a piano from a thrift store when I was a teenager and just starting to write that way. I always loved to write poetry and I always loved to sing. And having gone to the high school I went to performing arts high school in the city called LaGuardia. And like at that time I was like auditioning to be in musicals and like going that trajectory and like hoping I'd get into Juilliard. And I definitely did not go to college at all, let alone Juilliard. But like I thought that was like, you don't really know when you love to sing, you're kind of like, okay, how do I apply this to my life when it's like my biggest, greatest love? And then it really wasn't until I started writing that, that gave birth to a whole new beast. And then I just started playing shows and I would forever had X's on my hands because I was underage playing like Arlene's Grocery and Canal Room and all these rock venues in the city where they would be like, you guys are awesome, but you got to get out of here now because you're 15. So it was really cool to earn my stripes in the city of playing these legendary venues. And everyone in my band was always like 10, 20, who knows? They looked a lot older than me. And, it was basically like whoever I could play with, I wanted to play with. And I was in not even really bands. It was just like such a lineup it was a revolving door of playing with different people all the time because I just wanted to play as much as humanly possible. I'd play every open mic. I'd play every corner of every shitty pub to like do open mic nights and all that stuff. And busking. I used to busk in Washington Square Park to make a living. Like I've done it all. I've been around for a while.
That's amazing. So yeah, it sounds like you started obviously at a young age, and yeah, it's kind of similar with me. You kind of like grow up with like loving music and then just kind of like busting your ass. Right, time to like play some shows. And I totally remember the same times of like having the huge fucking X's of Sharpies on your head that you tried to wash off for days after and they just don't come off.
I know. I thought about getting them tattooed, and I'm really happy I didn't do that because that only is cute when you're a teenager.
Oh my God. That would have been really funny, though. That would have been.
So we don't do this in Australia. The Sharpie, or the texture as we call it in Australia, they mark your hand here. Is that right? When
Both
you
of them with massive X's so that you cannot be served any bevies at all.
Exactly. No bevies. Yeah. That's how that's how you would see that if you had the big X on your hand, it was like, like you kind of feel.
Yeah.
I kind of always felt a little like lame, but I was like, well, at least I'm playing a show.
Yeah, you were like a young, a child getting to play these epic shows, and you did it, Jess. Like, really, I feel like your band was super successful when you were, at a young age and got to like tour and stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I was already playing shows, around like 15, 16 back in Arizona, and then once we got on the road, I was 18. So everywhere we went, it was like sometimes it was like you're not allowed in the dressing room, so you have to sit. And obviously, at the time, because we just started out, we also don't have a bus, so we're just sitting in our 15-passenger van, like outside of the venue, like, when is it our time to play? Like, yeah, it's crazy times. But yeah, so you started young, and then when did you meet the guys in Misterwives? How did you guys all find each other and form the band? Yeah.
Basically, at the time, I was serving at a restaurant, and ATN worked a block away from the restaurant I was at, and so we would always go into each other's restaurants. When you work in a restaurant, you're like, I can't eat this food ever again. So you have to. I would eat at the neighbor restaurant, Peace Food, and that's where he was, and he would always sit at the bar, and I would work the bar, and we would just always talk. And at the time, this is so old school, I actually sent him my MySpace for him to hear my music. That's how old we are. He was like, I'm a drummer. I was like, I write music, and we exchanged music that way, and like just hit it off really instantly, where I was like, okay, this guy's gonna be my friend, or I'm gonna figure out how to like play in a band with him because he's an incredible drummer. And simultaneously, I met Will through a mutual friend. And like, I look back at this and I'm like, this is so insane that I only knew him for a month, right? And Will was working like a finance job in like Wall Street, and had a real job, wasn't in a band. And he would rehearse with me and like my friends who would just like, the friends who would like play gigs with me. And he would sleep in the studio that we rehearsed in and like get up at 4 a.m. to go to work. And it was really far from the train. And my apartment at the time, I was living on my own. I was like, 17. I was like, you want to just like come live with me? And we built a wall in my apartment. So it was a 2-bedroom, but like, I only knew him for a month, and I just let this like man move into my apartment.
Wow.
Really insane to think about. I'm like, horrifying. Where were my parents? And the three of us started just like demoing music I was writing in ATN's closet and put it up on SoundCloud. And we found our manager that way, and all sorts of crazy. It's so crazy when you look back and you're like, wow, this tiny moment is what led me to meeting this person that changed my life. I had a show booked at the Canal Room, and we just needed like more musicians. And ATN knew Jesse and Mark because he played in previous bands with them. Because in New York, you're just like, everybody plays in a million bands. So he brought them on board, and we just had this one rehearsal that was so fun. When it just like clicks and you're like, this is what I've been looking for. You're just like,
totally.
Gel mentally, emotionally. It was so fun. The music was effortless to put together. Everyone just brought so much creativity and their own spin to things. Yeah, we never looked back. That was it. Yeah, ATN to this day still produces most of
Everything.
Our music. He's so talented. It's the band has evolved so much since when we first started out. We were children, and just to see how incredible he's gotten with production. He's like one of my favorite producers, and makes me excited for future music that we are gonna make. I'm like, it's just so cool to like see him getting so crazy good at it. And he's a great teacher. Because of quarantine, I've had to start to like do that stuff myself, which has been an amazing opportunity because you're on the road all the time, and ATN's just always been the producer for everything. And without being together, it's like forced me to be like, okay, I want to make music, but I don't know how to do any of these things. So It's been nice to learn like a new, to enhance my craft. And I've always been sitting alongside him producing things, but never doing the like technicalities of it. So that's been good. That's been one silver lining of quarantine.
Were you and he writing any lyrics or music together, or with the rest of the band, or it was pretty much just you and he was producing it?
Yeah, basically. I mean, the door is always open. It's like, Mark will come to me with like a killer guitar riff and I'm like, can I write something to this? Or if we're like messing around in rehearsal and someone plays something amazing that's inspiring and I want to write to it, that's happened. We're open to all forms of creating. There's no like one way for us to create. Writing is incredibly personal to me. So half the time it's me writing a song at the keys at 3 a.m. You know what I mean? And then taking it to the band and fleshing it out that way and producing it with 8. But this last album like opened me up to all new sorts of like forms of creating, and I never did co-writes before, and I got to work with really incredible talented people that I'm lucky to call friends and like, I don't know, learn and grow and go outside my comfort zone. So it's nice to just see with every album how much more you push yourself to find new ways to create and not get stuck in this like one-dimensional, I do it this way and that's it. It's nice to expand.
Wow, you just started doing the co-writes for just this last album? For Superbloom?
Yes, I'm a late bloomer.
Pun intended, I guess.
Yeah.
That's amazing that it was just you and like the band before, which is, I guess I would have just assumed. I always feel like with pop artists, like it's always like, especially when you're signed to a label, it's kind of like, I feel like they set you up so much with co-writing initially, but you guys were kind of just doing it yourselves then for until literally the last album.
Yeah. The reason I like didn't want to do co-writes at all was because that reason where it's like labels are setting you up, and we, our first deal was like, you're not putting out your album until you have to write with this person. And I was like, fuck that. Like, I'm going to write what I want to write. And like, it totally turned me off to co-writing sessions. And like the ones I was put on were people that are like, oh, this person did the top line for this big pop star. And I would go into these sessions and they'd be like, here's this, not even like a rhyme generator, like putting in a phrase, and then it would just come up with a whole phrase for you. And like comparing to like, oh, I like this song, let's just make this song. Full on, like no creativity. I was like, this is rubbish. I hate this. This is the most demoralizing, nothing close to music. I don't want to do any. I had a bumpy start to the sessions I was put into where it really turned me off to them. And then I just was really stubborn. I was like, I'm going to do this just myself because this is trash, even though that's not what it is. And when you find the right people, it's like the most incredible relationship. It's just expanding what you do with your band. You're like, oh, I can create and connect with other people and make even cooler shit because you're bringing fresh ears to the table. And
it's surprising they were like that when you are the artist. Like, it's different if you're writing for other artists and you got to churn some songs out and you're like, cool, let's rip this song off.
Yeah.
We're going to this structure and we're going to use these instruments and then we'll write our own song around it. But when you're in the room with them, it feels like, should be hearing what your story is and, oh, let's write about that,
Yeah, which is what it's like. So I'm so grateful that like this album brought me to that. And the only reason I was open to it was because me and ATN were splitting up, and the things I had to write and the things I was experiencing were way too raw and difficult to then be like, okay, you want to like produce this heart-wrenching song together? So I was like, for the sake of our relationship, I was like, I have to go elsewhere, and got to work with people like K-Flay and Sir Sly and Tim Pignata and like Whitney Phillips and all these really exceptional, talented people who just felt like, kicking it with your friends, writing and handling my emotions with care and being very, it made me feel less alone in what I was going through, getting it right with other people. And now I love it. Now, especially I'm in LA, and that's like the thing in LA is all sessions. And I'm like, put me in all the sessions. I love co-writing now. So,
that's good. Or maybe they've found the right people for you now, like the right team.
Yeah, 100%. That's so key.
And is that your label or your publisher that's doing that? That's setting up the co-writes?
A mix of both. I just signed with Warner for publishing, and I also just signed with Fueled By as well. So it's like a whole brand new team, which is really exciting, and they're all wonderful people. And it's
congrats, by the way. That's
Thank
incredible.
you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've been on all the labels, and this is definitely the best one yet. So
nice.
We're really excited. And also my manager he's incredible, and he also just like is always helping me connect the dots. And a lot of the time with these sessions, like most of them came from Jared, my manager, and just word of mouth kind of stuff. So
have you had him the whole time? Have you had that manager the whole time?
Yeah, that's the one that we put our music up on SoundCloud. I think his friend from college wrote about us on his music blog, Stags Flow. Shout out to Stags Flow. And And Jared found us through there and like came to our show. That was our first manager for Misterwives.
Oh, so that's how he found you, was just through this person posting online about you. And then this guy, was he managing other artists before, or was he kind of just getting into the music management thing at the time?
Yes. So he had at the time, Time Flies. Do you know Time Flies?
I do know Time Flies.
Yeah. He managed them. I think they're no longer together, but he still manages Cal, lead singer, and he manages a bunch of other awesome artists. But that to us, it was like, oh my God, look what you did with this artist. Like, they play these rooms. Are you kidding me? Like, hell yeah, let's work together. So
that's amazing to find someone that you're still with then up to this day. Finding a manager is something that, I mean, that's like one of the first things you want to do, but it's really hard.
Needle in a haystack.
Yeah,
really.
you're very, very true, Bowie.
Someone who's got contacts, or maybe someone who's upcoming, or someone who's not going to rip you off. I mean, how do you meet someone? Like, it's just, that was a little bit of luck.
Yeah, that was a lot of it of luck, because he's all of those things you just said. He's got such a good heart. He's loyal. He works his ass off. We were all young when we first started out. You know, he's the person I talk to the most. Every single day I'm FaceTiming or talking to him and his family. So I'm very, very lucky for Jared.
Wow. Amazing.
So Edian, right from the start, did he teach himself to produce, or, you know, he's obviously very good now, but did the label let him produce the tracks you were doing once you were signed, or were they like, no, you've got to work with a big producer?
A mix of the two. Basically, like the single, they were like, you have to do this with a big producer, and then everything else ATN could do.
Fantastic.
Really funny. Now, I mean, yeah, it's been a mix of both, you know, where they're like, oh, you got to work with this big producer, or with time, he's proven himself to be sometimes better than these bigger producers. No one's going to know our sound more than him because he's a part of the band. So it's
exactly. And spends more time on it probably because it's your project.
100%. But we've kind of done it all now, where it's work with the big producer who sabotages the demo and it's not nearly as good. Or working with someone and being like, oh, wow, this really elevated what we did, and like ATN learned so much. Like this last record for Superbloom, we got to work with him, Pignata, who's a fucking wizard genius, and like ATN was like, I'm so happy we got to work with him, and I got to like co-pilot, because he was like, I learned so much, like more than I have in these past few years. It just depends on the person, and either way, whatever label we've been on have let us do our own thing, and occasionally they implement those like, you have to do this in order to put out your album, and you gotta like pick your battles, because like that, you know, you're not going to not put your album out to work with a producer, even if they're not perfect fit. Like, you got to always kind of figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, it's funny that you said that, because I feel like I went through the same process with my band, where they were like, okay, like, you can go with whatever producer, but for your single, you have to go with these guys. And you're like, well, Jesus Christ. I mean, okay. But like
the politics are so bogus. It's so goofy.
Yeah.
But
okay, so speaking of your first labels and stuff, you guys were, I believe you were on Photo Finish first, right?
Yes, love Photo Finish.
And that, still, And so for people that don't know about Photo Finish, that is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that is Matt Galley and Mike Marquis' label, correct?
That is correct.
So Mike Marquis and Matt Galley are also very, very top booking agents at Paradigm. And is that also who you're booked by then?
That is true. Mike Marquis is still our booking agent. I was just texting him right before this wonderful interview.
What came first, the label or the booking agent? Like, were you signed on under Paradigm and then they signed you to the label, or was it vice versa? Like, how'd that...
Okay. This is going to sound crazy, and anyone listening who wants to pursue a career in music, this is never going to happen this way, but I don't know how this all happened. That one gig that my manager came to at the Canal Room, so did Matt Galley, and so did Marquis. So it all happened at the same time, which is like very, like, that's just, I think all our luck was used in that one moment, and we've not been able to achieve any more lucky moments in our life, because they all happened then.
That's huge. Yeah. So you basically played like that one showcase show at the Canal Room, and then you were like, cool, now we're signed, have a booking agent and a manager. Here we go.
Yeah. I sound like an asshole saying that, but just so you know, I was hustling for years and had other manager. Like, it didn't just happen easy in one day. It sounds so ridiculous when you put it that way, but when you do break it all down, yeah, it did all happen at that one night at the Canal Room. And it's really funny. At the time, like, we did do well in like those small club shows. You know, it was at the time when you were making Facebook events and inviting every single friend you had. And we played, the Canal Room had this thing after called like 80s night or something. something. And like, it was like, do you know what I'm talking about? Like they do those theme nights that people go to like at a club.
Yeah, totally. Like an emo night, but an 80s night instead of emo night.
Exactly. So that 80s night made us look really, really good and made it seem like we had like the most packed to the brim sold out show.
Get some good photos.
Yeah, and I think they were like, wow, what is this? This is incredible. This show, like the band from Tiny Band is like pulling these big shows together. We would have still been with Photo Finish. We got like dicked over and, and like a bigger label takes on a more boutique label. That's what happened with us. Republic took on Photo Finish and then kept us, but dropped I don't know if I should be saying these things, let go of Photo Finish. So we were, like, oh my God, what? No, that's like our mom and dad. Like you can't take us away from our parents, our whole family. But had that not happened, we definitely would still be with Photo Finish. I still keep in touch with all those people and they're just like best friends now.
Like you were all based in New York then, I guess. Why did you move to LA?
It's a good question. Well, my boyfriend is based in LA and basically he also tours. And so, before, when the world was normal, when the world was kind of normal, or you could go places without fearing for your life and other people's lives. We thought, I came out here to visit him being like, oh my God, I was such a baby. We were like, we're not going to see each other all year because I had a pretty extensive touring schedule and he had an even crazier touring schedule. So I came out to LA to like be with him for a few weeks. And then he left for tour. He played 3 shows and came right home because of the lockdown. And we were like, what is going on? This is insane. And I was supposed to be flying back home to New York. And I was like here to shoot a video a bit after he flew out. And then I like unpacked my bags. And I was like, okay, I guess I should stay here. This seems serious. I have no idea. Like this will probably pass in a week and things will be fine. And obviously we've been in quarantine since March. Yeah. And I guess we just like built a life for ourselves here in this quarantine world of like, wow, we'd never be able to have this much time together. We were like ready to not see each other for the whole year. And with everything. Yeah, I know. So, and which was really beautiful. And I figured, like everything that I've been through these last couple of years, I thought it'd be good to plant my roots somewhere else and kind of have a new chapter. And especially like, since I won't be able to tour for God knows how long now, I was like, oh, it'd be really cool to like, I've never done the writing thing. This is definitely the community. The community is here for that and not so much in New York, unfortunately. And I was like, that would be cool to like give that a go. I've never really done that for, other artists and all that stuff. So I was like, this would be a cool opportunity and it cannot complain about the weather at all here. So yeah, all those things combined, it just felt like for this time, I don't know if it will be permanent. I think at least the year, at least ride it out and see what comes from it. But I just thought like a change of scenery was needed and it made way more sense for us to live here where we could get a place that has like a yard. And quarantine in New York is really tough. Like I have friends who like live in really tiny apartments like us here, but like they can't go outside. The weather is shit. Like right now it's really tough. And like having that luxury of like going to get vitamin D to help your anxiety and your depression and like kind of level out some things, like it does go a long way. So it just seemed like the best option for what's going on right now.
So your boyfriend was going on tour. Was that the tour he was doing with Billie Eilish? Because he is her photographer, right?
Yes, okay. He is.
Oh, yeah, so how long's he out on the road for then with all of that?
It's back and forth. They actually have a pretty cool touring schedule where it's like not as, I feel like when you get to make it to that level, you have like the option of like, okay, do you want to tour the whole year and not go home at all? Or can you like come back every few weeks? And they were kind of in that boat, which he was really stoked about because that's the best of both worlds. You get to be on the road and you get to also come home for a second. So yeah, I felt really terrible that, he had an amazing year ahead. And they played like 3 epic arena shows and then it was, they all had to come home. And
that's so sad.
Yeah, I know. It's really sad.
Sad for everyone, for all musicians. Like, what a shit time.
Yeah, no, it's been very depressing. I'm just let's not go too dark, but it is.
But at least the weather's good, as you said. At least the weather's good. Like, yeah. It's so warm at the moment. It's ridiculous. Like,
it honestly feels goofy. Like I'm from New York and it's like, the holidays. And I'm like, this feels so weird putting up a tree and it's like 8. I keep going to like put on like a cozy sweater. I'm like, it is hot. It's 70 degrees. What is it? I'm like not acclimated or adjusted to that. It's just hot and beautiful all the time.
Yeah, we're all useless. We like try and like put a beanie on, then we're like, shit, it's a bit hot.
Like I want to be festive.
Like,
I want to be festive, and I just can't be because I'm like, it was 80 degrees today. I put on like a sweatshirt and I went outside and I was like, I'm sweating. Like I can't do this.
Me every day. I like have to I've got to work on that. I look so good. But then you also sometimes I see people too here who have like clearly lived here their whole life and like it's 70 degrees and they have a winter coat on and I'm like, what? This is so crazy. Like in New York, everyone would be out in like shorts and tank tops and summer dresses and like people are wearing full on like parkas and I'm like, it's 70 degrees. You're so weak.
We just talked about how your boyfriend was obviously on tour and then had his touring plans cut. What was going on with you guys? Did you have your touring plans the same thing? Like, were you guys scheduled for like this whole year? And then everything was canceled?
Basically, yeah. We were about to go to the UK at the end of March, and we were all very excited for that. And then we had a co-headline with this amazing band, Half Alive. And we were going to play like the biggest venues we've ever played. And it was like such a, I don't know, we were very much looking forward to like getting a tour. This album especially is like, you know, it's my favorite music we've ever made. And we were working up and dreaming up all sorts of really cool ideas to how to bring it to life and create the show. And we were like, talking to production teams and like building out stage design and all that stuff. And it's like all of that. It was just so funny in that initial moment. Like we've never experienced anything like this. So everybody was like, you know, we'll put it on hold, but it'll be fine in like next month. And then it just kept getting pushed back further and further to, you know, and now we're here basically almost a year later.
Yeah.
And
like, have you started booking next year or it's too risky? Is that what the label says? It's too risky to book?
I know that Marquis and my manager, Jared, have been like talking about tours for next fall and like seeing what that would look like. But, you know, everything is so like fickle. It's hard to solidify anything. It's just like a tentative, like, hopefully this can happen, but like not confirming anything. But, you know, with that in mind, I was like, I'm not going to go years not playing this album, this 19 track album that's like been the past few years of like all of this turmoil and heartache and growth and rebirth. And it just felt so horrible to not get to play that. So we got creative and put together this whole, you know, everybody's been doing live streams and we made something I'm really, really proud of that actually comes out this Saturday. I'll send you guys a link so you can watch it. But yeah, we're calling it a live dream and it's like a whole immersive experience of the album from beginning to end. And we like built out sets and we have dancers and strings players and like,
oh, that's amazing.
Thank you. We've been working on it. I wrote the treatment in August and it's like wild that it's just now like finished. And I'm really proud. With this time, if we were on tour, we would have never been pushed to make something like this. So that is another silver lining of being like, oh, I'm really thankful for this opportunity that we've like made something really special. And now we have like a visual album basically. So, and like at the time, I remember when we were planning the tour, I wanted to do this thing called the album Superbloom. So a poppy up, like a play on the flower, doing like a, you know, an immersive interactive experience where there were like rooms built out that felt like the different stages of the album and people could listen to the album that way. And we were going to like bring that on the road with us. But so we kind of like merged all of those ideas together, you know, to make this one piece that it's an hour and how long is it? An hour and 30? An hour and 30. It's a movie.
Wow. That is awesome. I cannot wait to see this. I'm so excited about this.
Thank you. Me too. It's rare to like ever be proud. I don't know if you guys are this way. I'm terrible this way where I'm like, I'm never proud of anything I make, but I'm very proud of what we pulled off. It was amazing getting to work with like our touring crew is small and our front of house and our stage manager, like they helped us with like the art department and building the sets and, you know, doing all the audio and just everybody rolled up their sleeves and really like came together to make this happen. And I'm just so thankful we pulled it off.
Amazing. I can't wait for this.
We have a quiz and sorry about this, Mandy, but you're going to have to be very decisive for these questions. It's really hard. Fire the questions, Jess.
All right. This is the first extremely hard question. Dogs or cats?
Oh, man. See, indecisive. I want to say both, but that's not allowed, right? Yeah. I'm a lover of all the animals, but I guess because I have my two cats that are my babies and I love them, I'll have to go with cats, but the answer is both.
See, that's fine.
Yeah,
It's
I'm disqualified.
Yeah, you're
I'm
done.
disqualified.
She's already failed.
I got an F. Already. That sounds about right on all the quizzes I've ever taken.
Next question. I know the answer to this, I think. Whiskey or vodka?
Oh, shit. Vodka.
The only reason I know the answer to this is because we just heard about her bad experiences off air with whiskey. So
Yeah,
that's the only reason we already knew.
Or you just, if you've ever hung out with me on either of them, you'd be able to answer that question for yourself. And,
well, good news, Mandy. You're still passing this quiz.
oh my God.
Question number 3, and I know the answer to this, I think. Beach or snow?
I mean, I guess the beach. I would say
Yeah.
the beach. The thing about snow is it's nice for like the first day or two, and then it just turns into like gross slush, cold, and your feet are all wet and frozen, and yeah. But I do miss it. I do miss the snow.
all right,
God.
next question. Headline or opener?
That's one I can pick. Headlining.
There we go.
There, I'm just gonna say headlining, and that's it.
There you go. She didn't need to even give any reasons.
Yeah. I want to justify opening. Obviously, headlining is the best. It's your people. You don't have to like win anybody over. Like they're there singing with you. They have your back. It's just like fun hanging with your friends. And then opening is like everybody typically hates you right off the bat. And it's like you're trying to get that girl with the green hair and her arms crossed that is frowning, sitting down the whole time, eating popcorn in front of you. You're trying to get her to like smile or clap or do anything. And then by the end of the set, I still am haunted by this girl that came to every single show of someone we opened for.
Oh my God.
You're joking.
No, but there's like so many shows where you're like, you see the people. A lot of people think you can't see them. Like, you can see
you
everybody.
see them. Yeah, for
and
sure.
I have horrible eyesight and I can still see them. So like you are seen. And
Green hair help.
yeah, the fluorescent like neon green hair.
You know
and
who
like
you are.
and getting to see that person like come to the other side and be like, oh, okay, like this, I enjoyed this, or like they smiled or they danced or they like clapped or did anything that like got them to enjoy themselves with, you know, going into something not knowing who you are, what your music is whatsoever. We've been in that position more times than headlining, and like that's always our thing of like I'll see those people and be like, I'm gonna get you to enjoy yourself, like even if it's the last second of the last song, like I'm gonna make it happen.
Oh wait, Jess, you've got one more question anyway. I forgot we're doing a quiz.
Oh yeah, we're still in a quiz. Oh wait, this is another fun one.
Okay.
Because I'm interested in this. What is on your rider?
Oh.
Is this not fun? Now I'm like, this is fun. Mandy's like, no.
Not whiskey.
It is fun, but like the guys, I love them all to death, truly. But they're, you know, they eat like, I don't know, the things I never was allowed to eat growing up, you know, where there's like 2 like Halloween-sized bags of candy, Pop-Tarts. Mark needs Chips Ahoy. Mark also needs Thomas. What are they? The English muffins?
Oh, the English muffins. Yeah.
We always have English muffins. And I'm like, why?
But wait, do you have a toaster? You got to toast them, don't you?
He's a serial killer, and I don't think he even needs to toast them, which is very
I don't trust anyone that doesn't toast their English muffins.
I know. Well, we do have a toaster on the bus. So a lot of these things on our rider we'll like take to the bus as like groceries for the week, you know, but not the candy. The candy never even makes it back to the bus because it's just finished before like the show. I think.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they're ravenous. They are.
This makes sense now. I was like, where does that energy come from on the stage? Now I'm like, oh, you guys have all this candy.
Yeah, you know.
All candy. And then my stupid ass is like, hummus and like, you know, veggie sticks and like things like that. And what else? Our front of house guy loves kombucha. He always has kombucha. That is a good one. Honestly, my only thing on a rider is like a kettle and throat coat. I'm like, that's all I need. That's
It's so funny because singers end up being like the least diva about the riders. It's so funny. Like, because I feel like the misconception is that like singers are the divas, but like the amount of things people have on riders, like I am even like, I put puppies on the rider for my band. Yes.
Yeah, she did.
All the time, because people, like, for instance, if the stage manager or the person running the promoter, someone at the venue had a dog, they'd be like, hey, just bring your dog to the show.
Cute. I'm gonna update our writer.
There you go.
They're going to go, wait, what happened to you in quarantine?
Yeah, I know that we need therapy puppies.
Yes.
Yeah. I've been telling our tour manager Feld now for like years, basically since we were a band, like, hey, we should update our writers. We don't need all of this candy. And what is the other thing that the guys put out? Oh, that's it. Will asked for a cutout of David Hasselhoff, which
my God.
I don't understand why.
Wait, seriously? That's a thing he asked for?
I have no idea why, but sometimes we'll get like a full life-size cutout of David Hasselhoff, and then sometimes we'll get like a mini one that people print, and half the time I'm sure people are like, wow, we're never going to invite this band back, like, who asked for a cutout of David
Oh my God.
Hasselhoff. And yeah, I think Will like flew home with one once, and like we couldn't bring it on the planes. It was too big.
Does he does that? Guys, I'm very sober right now. I hope we all can agree. But wait, is it because he wants people to pay attention to the rider? Because you know what I mean? Like how some people will put in the middle of it like something. Oh, he just wants to have it on there. Okay.
He's the character. He's the most entertaining, funny, crazy human I will ever know. And that speaks volumes, because that's like how I feel about all our other bandmates. The craziest. Yeah, I don't know. I've asked him all the time, and he always just comes back with some like ridiculous Will answer, and I don't really know what the root of it is or how that came to be. But yeah, I think that has to, for tradition's sake, like always stay on our rider, even if we get one bag of candy instead of two. David Hasselhoff will still be there.
Well, Mandy, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for doing this. This was great chatting with you.
For having me. Oh my goodness. Truly a highlight of my quarantine. It's been, I love what you guys do, and I'm honored that you wanted to, I was going to say that you wanted to drink with me, that you wanted to talk with me.
You are the best. What a ball! Like, we had a freaking ball.
So happy to have these. We had a nice few drinks.
We honestly started this podcast for this reason, because it was fun.
For everyone else that's listening, we'd like for them to keep up with what you are doing. Do you want to maybe give your like personal Instagram or Twitter, or anything that you feel like that you use the most? I guess for everyone to follow you.
Yeah, I guess I use the band's account the most, which is just Misterwives, on our Twitter, on our Instagram. My account is, what is my account? Mandy Lee D? I don't know. You don't need to follow me. Just follow Misterwives.
Just go to Misterwives, everyone. Just go to Misterwives.
Go to Misterwives. My account is just an echo chamber of Misterwives, so you just go to the source.
Perfect. Awesome. And so, yeah, thank you again for doing this. Everyone go follow Misterwives for sure. And stay safe. We love you. Thank you for being on here.
Hey, Jess, I just want to thank our amazing Patreon supporters. We have some amazing people who have subscribed to our Patreon account, and it really helps us with producing this show and getting everything up and running. We really appreciate the support, and we just wanted to thank everyone for being a subscriber.
Yes, thank you all so much. It really is helpful. You know, we love doing this, but it really helps us kind of be able to get it done. And, you know, if you become a patron, you will get some early access to the podcast. You'll get video content, some other content like Q&As that we do. We just do some fun stuff to try and give back. Just definitely subscribe, and we're just so thankful. So thank you guys so much.
Yeah, and the web address, if you want to visit our Patreon, is Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/babes behind the beats. So visit us there, and we really appreciate your support, and we can't wait to see you over there.